Hello, Blue Planet Earth citizens. My name is Yazan, and I am a first-time entrepreneur developing a multi-purpose tidal basin. In this video, we will be explaining everything about the project from profit to climate. So, I'm currently a resident of Sharjah, which is the third largest emirate in the United Arab Emirates. It's right next to Dubai, but even that I'm living here, the project is not inside the country. Here we are considered at the eastern edge of the Arab world. If we could see here from Dubai to our project area, here is Nouakchott, which is the capital. Our depression below sea level is just north of Nouakchott, which is here. It's 7,000 kilometers, and that's not a small distance. So, for example, let's have the largest country on Earth now, which is Russia. So, let's compare the most eastern city, which is Vladivostok, with the most western city in Russia, which is St. Petersburg. It's about 6,500 kilometers. So our distance is larger by 500 to 600 kilometers. So it's a far away project. So our project is not rocket science. It's very simple and easy. We have three main goals in this explanations and three main goals in the project itself. The three main, there are other goals, but these are the top three. The first goal that we want to achieve is aquaculture, which is, I believe, this depression or basin salt, it's gonna be a new salt lake. It can produce 20,000 tons of fish. So that's uh, maybe also seaweed, but we're gonna talk about this later. So that's the first reason. The second reason is tidal energy. And tidal energy is a form of hydropower. And what about what's the difference between tidal energy and other hydropowers? Most of dams around the world that use hydro are big hydro, or I'd say it not low head but high head, like 50 meters or 100 meters. We are at only 1 meter, so it's a very low head. But how you're gonna produce electricity in such low head, only 1 meter? That's basically nothing. We're gonna produce it with high volume of water. So we know that sea level changes every 6 hours, and this depression, just to give you an idea, we can see here it's around, oh my calculator, this is just a fast, this is the location, not the exact location. It's about 2,000 kilometers. So imagine 2,000 square kilometers. We're talking with 1 meter height difference. We're talking about 2 billion cubic meters a time. So yes, it's a low head, but it's a high volume. So it's a high volume, uh, low head uh, hydropower. So another thing that we should consider, most of the of rivers depend on solar cycles. So we have this here, the ocean, the water evaporates, and then it rains, and then it goes to a river basin, and then it creates energy. So it depends on rainfall, but we are different. Uh, we are dependent on the ocean, and we are dependent on the moon. So most of 99% plus, so more than 99% of hydro is dependent on the sun. So it's sun-powered hydro. But we are moon-powered hydro. We are different. We do not depend on rivers. We do not depend on water. We depend on salt water. So tidal energy is different. The source is the gravity of the moon, so it's different. So the first goal is aquaculture and fish. The second goal is creating renewable electricity generation made from tidal energy. And the third goal is gonna be this area is gonna be a carbon sink. So what is a carbon sink and what's the difference between a carbon sink and an area that, let's say, polluting and committing carbon emissions? The difference is carbon sink simply is an area that absorbs more CO2 from the atmosphere than it emits. So some cities, they have fossil fuels and they emit a lot of CO2, but these areas, either the ocean or rainforest that absorbs more CO2 than they give. So aquaculture producing fish, tidal energy producing renewable electricity, and being a carbon sink basically from seaweed. Seaweed is naturally grown in salt waters and it's dependent uh, on solar energy. It feeds on solar radiation and it produces oxygen and absorbs CO2. So this is the approximate area, as we said. And but, but why don't you give me the exact area? And that's what I'm going to do now. So here we have flood map. Uh, we can see here, I don't know if I'm going to get copyrights for this, but we can see here, this is a map of the world. If we have 400 meters uh, of water more. Uh, so what about 100 meters? So here we could see what areas of the world are going to be under the water if sea level rises 100 meters. So we are here dependent, here. Let's go and let's type 0. Yeah. So 0 is basically sea level does not need to rise anything. It's literally under the sea level. It's under. We don't need water levels to rise. So is this the only way? Uh, the only depression? No, we have other depressions, and the most famous, the one and only Tara depression. This is a depression. It's very big. It's 10 times larger than our projected site, but it's 60 kilometers. So it's 10 times uh, larger than our depression, but it's also 10 times uh, uh, 10 times most, how to say it in English, it's far from the ocean. And also this is a mountain area. So it's 100 meters and 150 meters above sea level. So getting a canal or a tunnel through rocks is expensive. But this area that are we're looking for, it's sand and it's 10 meters maximum above sea level. So it's not very high and there's not a lot of rocks. So digging a canal will be easy. So how we are going to know how much the sea levels are gonna go up and down and up and down. We can see this on the internet with forecast. So for example, right now the sea level is at 1 meter above sea level. And we have an average and it sometimes it go up. So let's see here. So the peak is 1.2 and now we are at basically 1. And after now we are at 11 a.m. at their timing, the timing of I think their time zone is the same time zone uh, as London. So 11 a.m. and it's gonna go all the way. So here we could literally see at 11 a.m. it's 1 meter above sea level, and at around 5 p.m. it's gonna be no. So after 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours, it's gonna be uh, around 0.1. So the difference that we can see here is 1.1. It goes, sometimes the difference is larger, sometimes it's smaller. Here we can see 1.3, here we can see 0.1, 0.1, 1.2, 0.1. So we can see that changes. So sometimes we cannot generate good electricity because here it's 0.5 go to 0.8, so that's only 30 centimeters difference. So in this we cannot generate a lot of electricity, but sometimes the difference is big. So the the larger the difference is, the more electricity we can produce. The smaller it gets, the less electricity we can produce. This data, uh, we can take the forecast data for 2024 and we can do all the calculations to know how much energy we are going to produce. So now let's go back to aquaculture and uh, producing fish. So here we can see, let me show you. Okay, so here we can see uh, the Bardawi Lake in Egypt. This mean so the Bardawi Lake in Egypt. Sorry, yes. So the Bardawi Lake in Egypt is 600. Let's go to Google Earth to see it. So here is Egypt. Here is the Mediterranean, and here is a part of Egypt, but also a part of the Mediterranean. We can say it's a part of both. It's neither fully from the open ocean, and it's neither a land. So it's a basin, it's a salt lake, somewhat between the ocean and land. It's 600 kilometers. Our depression is triple the size of this uh, not salty, yes, salty, sandy lake. Here we can see that there is two canals connecting it to the ocean. So how much this area, 600 square kilometers, how much fish it produces? Sometimes in 2020 it produced 1,600 tons, and in some times it produces 4,000 tons. But the average up to between 1990 and 2016, it produces around 3,000 tons. So we are triple the size. So we have triple the amount of fish. So that's 9,000 tons of fish. But here we can see, this is the Eastern Mediterranean, and this is the coastline of Mauritania. So the difference is that we have triple the amounts of nutrients. So why some areas in the ocean have more nutrients and some areas in the ocean have less nutrients? It's about the ocean currents. So let's explain it simply. Uh, the deep water have more nutrients than upper water. And with wind and with ocean currents. So here, let me explain it. Okay, so here is the tropical region of the world, which receives more solar radiation than upper. The currents here, colder water goes here. So in this size, the upper water goes with the wind, goes to this area, and the deep water from this area goes here. So the upper water goes here and the deeper water and then it goes up. So that's why there is more nutrient levels. But this region is not important for us. It's just to explain this. The the Mediterranean Ocean does not have a lot of currents. It's closed. So the Mediterranean, especially the Eastern Mediterranean, have lower uh, nutrient levels. And some areas in the world have a lot compared to others. So let's have an example of the Amazon forest. So we can see here the Amazon forest, uh, the Amazon River puts a lot of water and a lot of nutrients, all this from the largest rainforest in the world. It comes here with a lot of nutrients, and that's why there is a lot of fish in this area specifically. But here we are different. We don't have a major river here. In the Amazon, we have a major river, but here we do not have a major river. So why this area of Western Africa have more nutrients than uh, any East Mediterranean or uh, the Atlantic? Basically, because of wind and water currents. So, simply, the wind moves like this, and with the wind, upper water moves. So we could see here that all the water goes this side, and then we have water that replaces it. So this area specifically in western edge of Africa, the deep water come from the Atlantic and then it goes up. And this cold deep water have a lot of nutrients, and that's why we are going to uh, make a lot of fish. So we're gonna produce not 9,000 tons compared to the Bardawi Lake. We are gonna produce 20,000 tons. So we talked about fish and we talked about renewable energy. So let's move to the next. Let's go back here. Okay. So what we are gonna talk about next is gonna be the effect on the um, on the rainfall in the region. So our basin is right here between the red area and the orange area. The red area, as you could see here, this is the Sahara Desert. These red areas, years come by and they don't receive a single drop of water for years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, without a single drop. In the orange areas, they don't have a lot of rainfall, but they do have some rainfall. And our depression is between these two areas, and it's close to the ocean. So the two main uh, effects to the regional. Let me put another. Okay, we don't have good picture, but anyway. So solar radiation absorbs a lot of uh, the this salt lake is gonna absorb a lot of the, or maybe I have a good picture. Let me go to the, yeah, this one. This one is good. Let's go back. So these three pictures, we see here the white surface reflects most of solar radiation and the water surface absorbs most of it. So the region is gonna become cooler. The water vapor from the region is gonna allow more rainfall in the region, and then we have the seaweed. So I'm gonna have another video to explain things that I did not explain, but that's an introduction, a simple conclusion of the project.